not going to be the most energetic podcast because me and you are both just completely bagged right now, I think.
Yeah, it's been a long and tiring week and a half.
We're here for episode 9. I got the number right.
We both showed up. I'm proud of us both.
Yeah. It's been a long, well, we threw Canada Day in there too. Long weekend.
A bit of a change in schedule.
For you. Wow.
A sick child for you.
Oh, I'm on about 3 hours sleep. I'm getting the education in a sick child. I've never had that before, but it was growing pains for sure.
That sounds awful. I can't even stay awake on my own schedule. So I can't imagine being on somebody else's.
But we shall muster through because we have a lot to talk about. Not in the greatest way considering it's kind of all over.
Oh, man.
I know.
Did my last tournament visit the other weekend. It's the last time I get to go out and watch some of the ball. That actually makes me sad.
Well, you still got ball yourself.
I do, but I enjoy watching it. On the weekend, it was actually like I got in a ton of games. I got there, early-ish Sunday, and every game that I stopped by to watch was a good competitive game. I really enjoyed it.
And look, we'll get to the A division stuff. I actually wanted to ask you about that because you've been out pretty well every weekend. And
yeah, the ones around Edmonton I have, yeah.
And I guess what's been the biggest maybe thing you've noticed? I think I've asked you this before, but now from beginning season to end of season, what was the biggest thing that you noticed?
Well, as in like every season you see improvements, and the ball it was very clean. You could tell that teams were starting to ramp up for provincials, and because they were getting really excited and everybody's playing really well, and just the energy around the diamond was a lot different, say, in comparison to opening weekend when I was in Stony Plain. Like, same excitement, but everybody there is, gearing down for the peak of their season, basically. So the intensity was a lot higher that weekend, I felt, which makes sense. It was the MacLean-Ross Cup, so of course there is going to be intensity when you're battling for that. Well,
if you're going to bring it on any weekend, might as well be the championship weekend.
And what a great weekend to kind of lead into provincials too. Like, there were so many good games, like I said, that's such a great way to prepare moving forward.
So let's talk quickly about the champions. We talked B last time we were on. A champions have all been decided. Prince Albert running away with 2 of 3 championships. So props to them. They won the U16A division. They also won the U14A, defending champions 2 years in a row for them. So congratulations to them. And also the St. Albert Angels winning the U12A, which is the first time that organization has won a MacLean-Ross Cup.
Oh, congratulations.
So they're probably pretty excited in St. Albert. I do want to go back to Prince Albert for the Alberts, man. An Albert sweep. I actually didn't notice that. So this shows you how tired I am. I didn't notice that until right now.
Yeah, that is pretty funny.
But Prince Albert has won a combined 5 MacLean-Ross Cups.
I tell you, Saskatchewan fastball, like, people in Saskatchewan are crazy about their fastball. When I moved there to go to university, when I left, that was around the same time that I finished playing fastball here, and that was when there was like 2-3 teams here. And in Saskatchewan, they still had upwards of 10 teams competing in provincials around my age group. So it's always been a pretty passionate thing in Saskatchewan, I think. So that kind of makes sense to me.
And they just got themselves a beautiful new diamond as well. They're hosting the World, I forget what they're hosting, but they're hosting a major tournament. It's not on top of my head right now, but still considering. And these other so they've won 3 times in the U14. They've won twice in U16. They're actually, when you look at it, they're the most winningest program in GPLS in the A division.
Wow.
Yeah. I was actually going through everything, and out of all of I think the next closest one is Lloydminster, and that's between the Blues and Rebels, the old organization before they became the Liners. So, but yeah, Prince Albert's holding down the fort. The other was amazing thing. They've been to the championship 3 times, so they've been to 8 final appearances out of 19 possible games.
Holy.
So they're doing something well in Prince Albert.
No kidding.
So
and it's not like it's a humongous place either, so.
And we've said, and you mentioned like Saskatchewan. I think everyone kind of, there is a lot more teams from Alberta. So when you have like almost a dominance from the other side, it's kind of, even things out a little bit. It's what you want to see.
Less teams, but a little bit more elite just because there are less. kind of makes sense.
But also, if you look at too from a perspective of Saskatchewan's, maybe it's more spaced out. I know from other sports, that's always a larger problem, that it's spaced out a lot to get the same competition that you would perhaps get into in Alberta. So it even shows how great the GPLS is to have this, broadening, two provinces coming together to play for entire weekends, and you get good competition all weekend.
Yeah, it's actually it's huge when it comes to that. Like all those small little Saskatchewan towns that have nowhere to play now have a place to play and compete against good teams. That's huge.
Should also, from the U14, when Prince Albert and U14 actually was 10-5 this year, they were actually third place in their division, fifth overall. So that tells you just how competitive that division. I think we talked about it last time, how I think that was probably the most competitive division, and they came out of that one as your defending champion. So props to Prince Albert for winning their organization's 5th MacLean-Ross Cup.
Also, the championship that they're hosting is the Junior Men's Softball Championship.
There we go.
Yeah.
And they've done a lot of work on the park as well to get that, now splitting with All-Star and Pink Sox weekend as well with Lloydminster. So lots of great things coming to Prince Albert, happening right now. So clearly what they're doing there is working. Don't change.
That's exciting, and it's got to be exciting having the new facility for, just the softball community in general. That is really exciting. I'm excited for them. I wish I could go out there, see it.
Well, get in your car. It's not that far.
It is that far. It is that far.
It's only 7-8 hours.
Yeah.
Get a good headwind on that Saskatchewan highway. There you go.
Yeah, just go and take in the new facilities, drive back. Worth the trip, probably.
It's off topic, but a little bit on topic. Over the long weekend, was noticing a Saskatchewan police was putting out tweets of how fast drivers were going, and the top one was 204 kilometers an hour.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, you get on that super straight 4-lane highway that, has half a curve in it. You could probably get going pretty fast.
So we are not endorsing 204 kilometers an hour to get to your games.
No. I mean...
But if you did it, I'm just saying, you would get to Prince Albert in about 2-3 hours. Just say.
And a cop might tweet about you.
There you go.
A little bit of 15 minutes of fame for being not that smart.
There you go.
Which is a common theme these days, so might as well, right?
Anyway, so we also got some few more player interviews to get to. Who do we got this week?
We have Haley Zinger this week, so she is a member of the Red Deer Rage. Same sort of thing. Like, I feel like these intros are getting super repetitive, but just listening to our little interview, my goodness, and get to know Haley a little bit.
Haley Zinger, Red Deer Rage, U14A, and I play first base and center field.
So, how long have you been playing softball, and why did you start?
I've been playing softball for 3 years now, and I kind of started playing because my brother plays baseball, and we kind of always just played catch in the backyard, and I always watched his games, and it just seemed like a fun sport to play.
What do you think it would mean for young girls that, say, don't have an older sibling or older sister or older brother to see girls like you playing the sport and see girls on TV? And what do you think that would do for young girls who want to play?
I think it would show them that this sport is open for them to play and that it is a fun sport to play and that you learn new things and meet new friends and that just give it a try.
Girls' sports are getting a lot more coverage, a lot more popularity, and not quite where that needs to be compared to male sports. But with leagues like this and teams growing and the sports really growing, do you think that that's a good thing for just girls in general to get involved in sport?
Yeah, I think it's really good because you're just out of school and out of staying at home, and it just shows you what else you can do other than other things like school.
Do you play other sports as well?
Yeah, I play volleyball, basketball, badminton, ringette, and I think that's it.
Ah, girl, multi-sport. I love it. I was a basketball player. I played basketball in university, so that was kind of my thing. But I love that you, all of you guys are multi-sport. It's great. I love hearing that. That's so much better. For the competition and the way that softball is going in Alberta, is that exciting for you that it's getting so much bigger and so much better?
Yeah, it's just such a fun sport. And since it's getting bigger, it just makes you want to play more because now you have more competition coming. And yeah, just...
And do you want to play in college, in anything, in any of the sports that you're playing, or softball?
Yeah, I definitely would. I really like sports because it just teaches me like discipline and I don't know.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely discipline. That's one answer we haven't had yet is the discipline part. Something that I definitely got from it was higher self-esteem, higher confidence, and I think that's something that is invaluable, especially growing up a young girl. It can be a little bit, it's a struggle at times. Is that something you think that sport does for you?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. How come?
It's just you're with your team, your friends, and your coaches just teach you, like, how to, like, cope with your mistakes and, like, I don't know, just learn from them, and you can help your friends with, like, those mistakes that you made. Yeah, so it's definitely based around failure. A lot of well, not all of it, but, big aspects of the game are based around failure. So you have to kind of get past the fact that you're going to fail more than you succeed, especially like batting, say. Mm-hmm. So when you go back to school or you go do other things in life, do you think that the fact that you know how to push through failure helps you? Yeah. Give me an example if you have one. So, for example, probably like a test. You fail in a test and you're really upset about it. If you play sports and you fail a lot at batting, you strike out, but you learn from those mistakes, you can help that with your tests. Like, you didn't do good, but you're just going to study more next time or just use different strategies for that.
Yeah, that's a good answer. Good job. And another one, so you talked about your teammates coming together and, helping each other out and when you make a mistake, you have your teammates there. Do you think that helps with leadership in other things? Like, say, when you go back to your volleyball team or your ringette or your classmates or whatever, do you think that leadership is something you carry with you?
Yeah, you just help, like, your team pick themselves up and just stay as a team, play as a team, and, yeah.
And do you want to play anything in college afterwards or softball's in the Olympics now? Would that be something you ever think about?
Yeah, definitely, for sure.
Yeah. What about that is exciting for you?
I just really like the team part of the game. It's just like you're always with your friends and it's just really fun.
What about the dedication side? I know a lot of girls train through the winter so that when summer comes they're ready for ball season. What does it take to really become a good athlete or a good ball player?
Well, if you really love the sport, then stick with it and make that one of your top priorities. So work for playing better and being better.
So that was Haley Zinger from the Red Deer Rage. You and your multi-sport athletes.
I get snuck in every single podcast.
Every single one.
Which is, I was thinking about it last time actually when we were doing it. I was like, I should probably take it easy and not bring it up this time. People are going to think I'm getting preachy, but you brought it up this time.
Someone's got to bring it up.
I agree. But
that's a podcast for another day.
Okay.
That's like a September, October podcast.
Or both. September and October podcasts.
I'm sure I could just turn the mic on and let you go and you'd probably be okay.
I would definitely be okay.
I
have so many thoughts banked
oh boy.
in here about all of that. You have no idea. Don't even tempt me.
So when I'm on holidays, this is what's happening.
Yeah, I apologize in advance.
So anyway, we have a few player interviews left in the bank from Miss Woman of the People here going out and talking and chatting and enjoying softball in the summer. But we're kind of running a little low. And with the season over, we don't have the opportunity to kind of go out and get them. So I think a little challenge is in order to get the players to call us.
Definitely.
So I'm going to make a post on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, some method of social media-ness. And I hope people are going to either message me, message Kira, message somebody, and drop us a line. We'll hook up, email, call. We'll figure out a way to get you on the show. And we'll keep this going for as long as we possibly can, because I think it's important to get the players who make up this league and get them on this podcast, because it shouldn't just be us talking. It should be us talking to the players and the people.
Well, and that's the point, right? Like exposure for the players, exposure for the sport and the league, and nobody really wants to listen to us talk that much. So we should have some people that are really involved in the league on the show as much as possible. So if you'd like to, if you feel like you have some cool things you'd like to say or add to the show, or you just want people to know who you are, that's cool too. Just let us know.
So other thing of social media, I'm going to drop your social media, which is I think Miss _ Lions.
I think it depends on if it's Twitter or Instagram, which I found out doing all of these interviews. Twitter is for old people.
Uh-oh.
Which I didn't realize I was an old person yet, but when I went to go do these interviews, every single girl that I interviewed, I was like, so what's your Twitter handle, your social media, so that we can tag you when we put these out on Twitter? Oh, Twitter. None of them had it. And I was like, oh, all right, I guess that is a tool of the elderly.
I feel so old now.
So they all had Instagram, no problem with that, but not a single one had Twitter.
I'm looking.
It's dying. Does that mean it's dying?
Oh, I hope not.
I love Twitter. I'm literally just getting into Twitter, and now I realize that people don't use it.
I have my 17 posts on Instagram, which are mostly food related. Oh, no.
I'm not going to lie. My last 4 posts have all been about ball.
Okay. And I wanted to talk about that because that's bothering me. Not what you posted, but so you went to you're at a Prospects game, Edmonton Prospect baseball.
Yeah. I was hosting last night. Yeah.
Yeah. And you were out in the crowd, and I don't know what young team, and I'm not going to throw them under the bus, except for what I'm going to say. I'm not going to name the team. But you asked them, I'm assuming it was 7th inning, and you asked them to sing "Take Me Out to the Ball Game." And they didn't know the words.
A lot of them didn't know the words, yeah. And I don't think that that's ever been a problem that I thought would arise at a ballpark. And so I'm asking them, and I kind of just asked them before we started singing just as kind of a joke. And they were like, no! And I was like, what? You actually don't know the words? So half of them were looking up at the Jumbotron to figure out what they need to be singing. The other ones were looking at me as I'm singing, trying to figure out what I'm saying. And I couldn't believe it. I thought that was just a song that would live on forever, but I had to pass. Well, maybe it will, because I passed it on to a younger generation yesterday, but it shocked me. I asked it as a joke, and then they answered that they didn't. I had a little bit of a panic.
So what we've learned today in the last 5 minutes of talking is that we are old because we are on Twitter and know the words to "Take Me Out to the Ball Game." That's what we just learned.
That's not old. There's no way.
That's what we just learned today.
Yeah, I guess so. I just couldn't believe it. And they're ball players. It's not like they were just random kids that were there. Like, they were a ball team, and they didn't know. Maybe they're just too young. I don't know.
Here, I'll throw. Okay, so I know the teams are still together. The other challenge I'll throw out, and it might be late to do this, but I'm hoping somebody picks up on this. I know these girls know cheers and their own little ones. As a sideline reporter, I knew they were there. And teams have their own little unique cheers and what they say. So if somebody wants to record their cheer, I will play it on here.
That is the best. I'm so glad you just did that, because every weekend I went out, that was something that I had kind of forgotten about, that, cheering was a big part of the game. And then I'd go to the young girls' games and stuff, and they're just cheering their little hearts out with their songs. And it brought back so many memories of mine from provincials where we would used to battle the other team with our cheers. And as corny as that sounds, it was so much fun. I'd lose my voice every weekend.
So you don't even have to have the greatest quality of mic. Use your cell phone, use anything. Record it. Put it in the middle. Get the girls to do it. Let's hear some cheers on here.
And you know what? If you feel like filming it, I would love to see it. I would actually love to watch some of you girls do your cheers. And I feel like I have a pretty good bank of cheers in my memory, but I would love to hear some new ones and see the variation that we have happening on the diamond these days.
And I'm sure we can make this a contest.
Absolutely. We need to make it a contest.
I'm not even sure I'm approving this, but I am approving that. Somehow we're going to make this a contest. We're going to get something for a prize. There's got to be some kind of prize for this, and we'll let this run for hopefully the rest of the month. We have nationals coming up in a month too, so over the next month, again, we'll get this all up on Facebook, Instagram for sure, because nobody cares for Twitter, and all the information. We'll get this out because I think we should run this and keep this. This would be an interesting contest.
Well, and you could film it like in between games or at a practice, or you could just film one during a game as well if somebody's really getting into it, in the middle of a game. I want to see that. I want to see the competitive nature coming out in their songs and their cheers. And that makes me excited. I can't believe we haven't done a podcast on the cheers yet.
Yeah, we guess a whole podcast on that.
I bet we probably could. I hope we get so many submissions. I'm excited to hear /
You just perked up like no one's business.
I did. It's so cute. It's like, and I don't have to sit through a whole game of it, which is also a bonus as well, because I know it can be a lot, and I feel bad for the parents sometimes. So I apologize for being so excited about it if you're one of those parents that is just absolutely sick of it, because I knew my parents were. But this way, it's not a whole game. I just get to see the highlights, which is exactly what I'd like.
And extra bonus points if you make the Prairie League Podcast cheer.
Oh. That's a tough one.
Yeah.
That's a tough one.
We'll see. But anyway, we should get back to talking real softball.
Yeah. Hey, that's all part of the process.
Everybody
goes through it.
It's part of the building as a team.
Whether you hated it or you loved it or anything in between, it was a part of your career as a child.
So where there will be a lot of cheering is going to be coming up in the next couple weekends as provincials between Alberta and Saskatchewan, both sides of the border there are kicking off the provincial season. Spots for nationals, spots for westerns are all open. So it starts, I believe, this weekend coming up. Not too sure the cities. All over the place. It's definitely all over the place. I know Calgary's hosting some, Edmonton's hosting some, Sherwood Park's hosting some, Irma. It's going to be all over the place, different divisions. But it also, I guess, the biggest thing to take away from that is if you actually look, especially in Alberta, not just look down on Saskatchewan, nothing about it, but Alberta has a lot of the teams from the GPLS are making up these draws. In some cases, it's the entire league is here in provincials, so it's offering, this is going to be probably the most competitive ball, so it's an extension of the season they've already had. And same thing on the Saskatchewan side, while there may not be the same amount of teams in there, teams like Prince Albert, for example, have had an entire season of competitive ball. Now they're going into provincials at a time where they're red hot, especially these, U14, U16 teams. They're coming in red hot for provincials. So probably the best time to actually, transition into the provincial talk now. Let's get to that.
Yeah, and having all of that competition is that's exactly when you want to peak, right? You want your team to come together at around this time. So having all of those tournaments, like we talked about the championship tournament and everything, you couldn't ask for a better way to prepare for provincials. And then having, so many teams that can compete at provincials and have the ability to take home the provincial title and then move on to westerns and nationals or wherever that leads them, having that competition at that high of a level for the last month at least is key. It's huge.
And as we've talked about multiple times on here about how much this league has grown and the competition level that it's brought out, you yourself, you played back in the day. Back in the day you played, and as you just were shy of when the GPLS started, and you had less competition. As you mentioned, your teams had to travel to find that competition that now they can have here at home.
We did. That's exactly right. So we would go to nationals every year, and we do we win provincials most of the time just because there were 2 or 3 teams at that point. So in order to get ready for nationals, we would fly to the States, 2 or 3 times in the summer, or to BC, Kelowna, just to, widen our variety of competition and level of it, because we just didn't have any or didn't have enough really at home. So, you have to be able to prepare for nationals if you want to compete, and we just didn't have that ability. So the fact that all of the teams in Alberta that are playing have the ability to compete at a high level and be ready for nationals and be ready for, the rest of the country is a pretty big advantage when you're able to just stay around Edmonton and instead of having to fly and spend a bunch of money to go, seek out teams.
And that's always been the biggest challenge for Alberta and Saskatchewan teams, is that the level of competition they've had until, this league has really ramped up that level. But it's a challenge. They're big provinces. It's, as it's been said, it's not the sunny sides of like Penticton and down in Surrey, BC, or in Ontario and Quebec, where it's the weather's warmer and they have a longer time to get games in and to travel to more competition and have more there. It's a very short season, as we've kind of already showed. We've done 4 podcasts and the season's over. Yeah. So it's I guess like you mentioned, it's getting prepared for that nationals. And if you look historically, Alberta, Saskatchewan hasn't done that well at nationals. I remember my time looking when we were in Lloydminster, even cracking the top 10 was something that a lot of teams were like, that's what we're aiming for. We're aiming to try and just crack the top 10. But now going forward, I think you're going to find a lot of teams are like, no, we're thinking top 5. We're thinking of winning. And that wasn't capable of something happening maybe 10 years ago, unless you had a very exceptional team, because you just didn't have that competition like you do today.
Yeah, for sure. And it was always so evident, when we would go to nationals and play against Ontario and BC, and just how much more time they had together even, and just competing together. And we, like I said, we flew to the States and to BC to play, but when you have that competition at home, there's just so much more repetition together against good teams. And that's what you need. You need to consistently play teams, and the fact that, they're playing each other and making Alberta better as a whole is really good moving forward. So this year, we'll have our best representation sent to nationals, but because the competition at home is so good, next year, who knows who it'll be, right? But the competition level is high, so at least we know that our province will be, represented well.
Yeah, and there is, I believe, 4 or 5 spots up for grabs on both sides of the border here, Alberta and Saskatchewan. So it's a lot of opportunities, and I don't like teams going just for the sake of going. I believe you should go there. You should be there to represent and put on a good showing and be there to win. And this goes back to my heydays as a reporter, and I never liked people just going to participate for the sake of participating. I feel like there's something there you should be there for, other than just kind of getting the experience. There's a lot to say about experience, but it is a national championship. You're wanting to be there to win a national championship, and I think with this competition, and we talked at the top of the show here about how much, let's say, it's helping someone like Prince Albert and other smaller communities in Saskatchewan and Alberta. Now you're going to start seeing those teams start producing top 5 finishes more often than not, at nationals, provincials, and other places as well.
I also think individually as a player, it does a lot for you too, because if you go to nationals and you recognize that your team and the level that you're playing at is competing with the rest of the country, that could spur a little bit of confidence, or put thoughts in your head that maybe weren't there before about playing in college, or maybe the idea of scouts taking a look at you or anything like that. Because if you're competing with the best teams in the country, and the best teams are producing girls that are going over, and playing in the States or staying at home and playing at universities and stuff, it's a thought that some girls don't think about. So having that opportunity when you go to these national competitions, and having the confidence because you're competing to pursue an athletic career or a student athlete path to school, either way, I think that it just produces a lot of good things for the sport and the teams, but the girls individually as well.
And you like I said, you learn a lot from playing against better teams, and you're gonna play better teams, and there is something to say about playing teams from different provinces that you've never played before in a very high pressure situation. And you look at those brackets when they get made, you're not playing your Alberta, Saskatchewan teams. You're playing your BC, Quebec, Ontario, Newfoundland, Nova Scotia. You're playing all over. You don't know where you're going. So it's a great opportunity for a lot of teams. But it starts here, provincials, and that competition, it's just an escalation of what happened in GPLS. And I love that fact that, and if you look at the provincials brackets, a lot of them it's matchups that we've already seen this year. And so there's a possibility that, you're going to see early upsets because teams aren't going in there not knowing who they're playing. They're knowing who they're going against. Now it's who's going to play the best game that weekend.
And that part, so just when I went out to the MacLean-Ross Cup championships and talked to some of the parents and players and coaches, and just to kind of get a feel for how people, were feeling over the weekend. And at a lot of the levels, there are multiple teams that could take it home, it's everybody's talking about how the competition level, you have not a huge advantage over anybody else. So going into that tournament, they're going to be preparing for teams that they've seen the whole time, throughout the summer, like you said. And yeah, I guess kind of I'm just repeating what you said, but they are who wants it the most that weekend because a lot of them have beaten each other, and it's a kind of a wild web of this team beat this team and this team lost to this team, but they beat this team. So it's very unpredictable as who's going to be able to take it home at a lot of those levels. Well,
and we go back to, again, U14, and I said that was one of the strongest divisions in the whole league this year. They had 8 teams above 500. Now take away, for say Alberta, you had take away the Battlefords and Prince Albert, and you got 6 teams from Alberta. On the flip side, you also got 2 very strong teams from Saskatchewan. So that level of competition is there on both sides, but it's also, you're going into it and you have to battle from the very beginning. There's no easy games, which is going to make you better when you get to the national level. So it's starting from the bottom, the grassroots, and working your way up to the national level. And this is what all of this is about, this whole level of competition, and why, in a sense, this league was born.
Yeah, definitely. And it's really filling a niche that Alberta and Saskatchewan needed, and hopefully that'll continue to grow and grow the sport as it does as well.
So let's get to know another one of our players. Let's take a little break from talking about provincials. Who do we got this time? We're getting low on the list, but who's this time we're talking to?
Yeah, we're running a little low on interviews, but we do have Avery Terpsma. She plays for the River City Hornets, who I saw a lot of River City Hornets jerseys walking around when I was in Sherwood Park. And one thing, I know this is super random, but I love their jerseys and their look. It's great. It was so intimidating even to me, and I wasn't even playing. But besides the point, we are going to get to know Avery Terpsma a little bit, so tune in and listen to what she has to say.
Avery Terpsma. I play for the River City Hornets, and I'm a pitcher and shortstop.
Nice, shortstop. It's a good position. So how did you get into softball, and how long have you been playing for?
I've been playing since I was 5, started in t-ball, and I just started playing because my older siblings played too, so I just wanted to be like them.
Do you play other sports, or what else do you like to do besides softball?
I just play sports in school, like basketball and volleyball and badminton and track and stuff.
What's your favorite?
Volleyball.
Are you apprehensive to say that because it's a fastball podcast?
Yeah, kind of, a little bit.
That's okay. That's good. I'm every time I talk to girls on here that talk about how they're multi-sport, I love it. It's great. I think you should play as many sports as long as you can. So keep doing it. What are some of the things that you love about softball? Why do you play every summer?
It's just to be with all my friends and just being outside and the fun. It's just so fun. I just find it, yeah. What are things that softball gives you outside of the diamond? What do you think are positive things that it gives you? Social skills, I guess, meeting new people and
what about confidence or teamwork?
Strength and learning how to cooperate and be a leader and stuff like that too.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. So when you come to tournaments like this, and I know when I was young, I used to go watch Panda's basketball games, and I just thought that those girls were amazing. I'd get their autographs, and it was this whole thing. I loved it. Do you think about that when there are younger girls here watching you?
Yeah, whenever I'm walking around, it's I wonder if they're watching me or if younger girls that I know want to be like me, and it's always make sure that your chin is up and being a good role model for them too.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's really important. I don't know if all the girls here realize that, you are a role model for someone, or someone is watching you and being like, I want to be like that, and I want to play ball like that. And so that's really cool that you recognize that at such a young age. So what do you think about, softball growing in Canada and being back in the Olympics? Are you going to watch? Are you going to look at those girls and be like, I want to be like those women?
Yeah, I think it's super sweet that it's coming back, and I'm so excited to watch it and hopefully be in it someday.
Yeah, it gives you something to kind of aspire to, hey? Yeah. What about, do you think it's important that young athletes are able to see, these older women that play their sport? Is that important to you?
Yeah, I think it's important because it gives them something to strive for, and, it's just, yeah.
Yeah, no, that's a good answer, absolutely. And what is your ultimate goal? What do you see yourself doing once you graduate and kind of move forward?
I want to go play college softball in the States somewhere, and hopefully be on Team Canada. Yeah, something big like that.
That is awesome. Well, good luck this weekend, and good luck with your season. And I hope that one day I'm interviewing you and you're on Team Canada. All right. Thank you very much.
So that was Avery Terpsma from the River City Hornets. I want to ask, because I don't see these jerseys. What do these things look like?
I saw a couple, but the ones that I liked the most were black, and then they had, I'm going to get it wrong now because you put me on the spot, but they had yellow stripes.
Okay.
And all the girls had black pants, and I don't know, they just looked like classic kind of old, I don't know, baseball jerseys. They were just really nice. And they had the little button up at the top of the jersey too. And that was one thing when I went and played fastball the other night. The jerseys are just beautiful. Especially when I compare it to my slow pitch teams and stuff, my ladies slow pitch. The fastball ones, they all have just beautiful sleeves with the button up, and it's not silk screen, but it's stitched on everywhere. They're just beautiful.
Nice. You got to look the part to be the part.
Oh man. And they looked great. And the River City Hornets just kind of stuck out to me. And I apologize if I actually, my memory is a little off, but I just remember thinking when I was watching them that, they looked a little scary. I liked them.
So that has been episode 9. We've good congratulations to Prince Albert teams and St. Albert as well for this year's GPLS winners for the MacLean-Ross Cup. Big weekends coming up for provincials. I think not all of them. Most of them are being done this weekend between Alberta and Saskatchewan. Next weekend as well, there's going to be some B games on, and there's a lot. We're going to have a lot to go through in the next 2 weeks.
I'm excited. I'm excited to, I wish I could watch some of these provincial championships because I feel like they're going to be really, really good and really exciting. So I wish I could be out there at the Diamonds taking it in again.
Well, maybe I'll put them on a spot again and tell them to go live stream them.
I would love that. I think they should do that for sure.
I'm really going to get in a lot of trouble for this. I'm just promising stuff left, right, and center today. Because if you actually go online, you can watch our live streaming games on the YouTube channel, Prairie League Softball. Some very long game. I'm looking at 6 hours and 46 minutes on one. There's 5 hours of game action on another, 2 hours on another. So there's tons of softball from the Prairie League, from the All-Star weekends, from championship weekends. You can watch the U16 games. All the championship games are on there too from the Sunday. Plus our podcasts. We're actually going up. We're going up in the world. So
it's about time.
So you can also subscribe on there as well, and get notifications right away when we upload podcasts or any other digital content to here. Obviously, Instagram. We've been through this today.
Yeah, we need to do the Instagram because nobody's on Twitter.
Yep, I'm going to have to pick up my Instagram game. That's scary. No. That's going to be sad.
Yeah, it's a scary thought, I know.
Yeah, I'm a 32-year-old guy. I don't want to. No.
I can get away with it a little bit more than you, but still, it's a scary thought for me even. That's why I thought Twitter was so great, and apparently it's a dying breed. So
that's sad.
I know.
Anyway, we got through this episode. We're both tired. I think we're going to bed. I'm going to bed at least. So episode 10, after that, we'll have all of our provincial matchups. We'll have a better picture of the nationals and what that's going to look like. And good luck to everybody this coming weekend and next weekend as well. enjoy the competition. So take care, everybody.